Welcome back. Now let's turn our attention to another issue the executive and national lawmakers are squabbling over. It's the country's 2018 budget. By now, everyone thought Nigeria would have had a national budget in place, considering what happened last year when it was 6 months into the year before the budget was finally approved. But it doesn't seem, I should say, that the political leadership of this country has actually learned anything from that. The president presented the budget to the National Assembly in November last year, and the month of March is almost over. The month of March now, 2018, is almost over, and there's no sign at all that the budget will be passed anytime soon. Both the executive and the legislature have been blaming each other for the situation. Now, recently, I spoke with Vice President Yemi Osibajo about the issue, and this is what he had to say.
The president, as you know, read the budget proposal sometime the end of October. And we had hoped that by January, which was really the expectation on the plan, that the budget would have been signed, returned to us and signed into law. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened. I believe that the executive had done its part by ensuring that the budget proposals were presented to Senate, to the National Assembly, as we planned in October of 2017. But what you find, of course, as you probably know, is that the Senate and the National Assembly tend to spend a bit of time on scrutinizing the budget and all of that. And unfortunately, that seems to be dragging, seems to be taking a while.
Now, the lawmakers on their part have blamed ministries, departments, and agencies of government for failing to appear before lawmakers to defend their budget. Last Thursday, President Muhammadu Buhari met with the Senate President and Speaker of the House of Representatives over the issue. The President has now directed all the MDAs yet to defend their 2018 budget proposal before the National Assembly to do so without delay. Now, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, says the President gave the order during the meeting with the Senate President and Speaker of the House of Reps, and of course some principal officers of the National Assembly. Mustafa said the order is to speed up the passage of the budget. He said the President is concerned by the delay in the passage of the budget. Well, let me just add that it's not just the President who is concerned, but the entire country just can't understand why we have this situation when the ruling party controls not just the executive, but has the majority of members in parliament. Joining me to discuss the budget further, I'm talking about the 2018 budget further now, is Eze Onyekwere, who is the lead director of the Center for Social Justice. Mr. Onyekwere, thank you very much for joining us on the program. It's like deja vu for Nigeria once again. What happened last year is repeating itself again this year with the 2018 budget.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate situation because the budget is meant to inform the activities and the planning of stakeholders in the public and private sectors, and is supposed to be set within the context of the financial year, which has been defined as the period between January 1 and the 31st of December. Unfortunately, over the past couple of years, we've seen a situation where the financial year is more observed in the breach. And I think it is something that both the executive and the legislature should think deeply about, because one had thought that even though the budget was presented late, that by now they should be rounding up the approval of the budget and sending it to the president for his assent. But unfortunately, what we hear is that some MDAs have failed to and refused to come and defend their budget. And I understand that even the president and the leadership of the National Assembly had a dialogue last night, and the president now mandated the MDAs to go before the National Assembly and defend their budget. And the question that arises from this is that, do the MDAs have to wait until a specific mandate from the president before they do the needful? It's a very unfortunate situation, and I've never seen anything like this, particularly the lack of cooperation between the executive and the legislature, all emanating from the same political party.
And one other thing I just have to point out for you to react to is the fact that if the MDAs have in the past denied that they refused to come to defend their budget. As a matter of fact, even the budget office has actually come out to speak on that. I'm talking about the director of the budget office now has actually spoken on that it's actually not correct that the MDAs are refusing to come forward to defend their budget. So the question you ask yourself is what exactly is going on? And then the lawmakers are telling us now that they do not know when the budget will be ready.
I do not believe the leader, the executive, the director of the budget office. I don't believe him, because if that was true, why would the president now order the MDAs to go and defend their budget? I think we must stop posturing and politicizing and propagandizing everything that should have been done diligently. If there are documents and reports that will enable the legislature to come to a proper and more nuanced appreciation of what is stated in the 2018 federal budget, shouldn't the legislature demand that before approval? So if they're supposed to come with documents and they refuse to come with that document, there's no way the legislature will simply go ahead and approve their budget. So I want to believe that before the president gave that order, there must be some briefing, which he got. So I think that the DG of the budget office was simply playing to the gallery.
And it appears in the whole of this drama, people, the leadership, I'm talking about the political leadership now, both sides, all sides now, do not seem to appreciate, you know, the losses that the country is incurring as a result of the non-passage of this budget. Can you just highlight some of these problems for us?
Of course, we've talked about the issue of planning for both stakeholders in the private and public sector. We talked about our capital projects, which cannot commence, which cannot start until the budget is approved. And you know what I mean? Before you say one or two things now, the rainy season has set in, and for outdoor construction, not much will happen until the dry season very late in the year. And before you know, we're going for Christmas and we're supposed to start another budget year. So you have this routine of projects continually being in the budget without being implemented, and as such, the people suffer. I think that the real reason why the executive and the legislature are just taking their time and doing abnormal things is that they more or less they are not part of the environment we are in, because the kind of money they receive, you heard what they receive in the legislature, that in the executive, they have kept it secret. If they were actually feeling the pains of the economic hardship in the land, they would have been more serious with their duties, particularly the budget. So because they're removed from all these foibles, they don't suffer as much as the common man, they can continue playing politics with the budget.
What do you think the country needs to do to revert effectively to this budget cycle of January to December?
It's a very simple thing. You have to start planning early, you present the budget early, make sure the documentation is before the National Assembly, and of course, give them ample time to consider it. Or else you can also amend the Constitution and put a respectable time frame for the leadership of the executive, and also give the legislature the mandate when they have to approve the budget, so that everything gets ready before the legislature proceeds on their New Year and Christmas break, and the president signs off, so that on January 1 of every year, the budget starts rolling.
All right, Mr. Anyakwere, thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for your contributions.
My pleasure.
On DEJI360, we don't just ask the questions. What is wrong with amending the Constitution the way the National Assembly members have been doing it? We seek answers.
Constitution is constituent.
Our problem is not lack of laws. Our problem is lack of the willpower to implement our laws.
Answers that provide clarity.
While we negotiate, we should try to make it a point that the girls must be complete.
The clarity you need to make informed judgment so that you can make the right decision and take action. People are saying it is you politicians that are responsible for this, that you are the reason why this is happening.
All these dollars that call themselves governors in this country?
I wish we had people like Tony at the National Assembly.
God forbid that I go to join that planet.
DEJI360, providing clarity to issues.